It's a quick update to start on where I currently am, I guess. Electrician finished yesterday and I'm now powered and lit up in the loft. He was, I think, probably quite a responsible electrician and didn't fancy my idea of just cabling into the upstairs circuit. So there's a cable there that runs down the outside of the house in trunking and goes down into the garage where the fuse box is, and it's all fused into I don't know, a box down there. It's got its own switch, so I don't really understand that kind of electronics, but I think it's he's done it pretty responsibly by the look of it. So yeah, that feeds I've got a few sockets around the place. I'm starting to get this computer set up, which will be the kind of the central control of the whole layout. That this will run JMRI and be the start point anyway of all the Arduinos and the electrical control, which I've kind of got a few prototypes of down here. You can see if I just try and get round a bit. There's an Arduino Mega there with like an expansion hat thing on, and then the start here of what will be servo point motors. There's a little control box up there, and then the relay row that you can see down there, that is for electrofrog polarity control. They'll be controlled by the Arduino as well, so the Arduino will know when it throws any set of points, it'll throw the relay as well, just to keep the frogs and the electrofrog turnouts the correct polarity. The idea here is these monitors can't stay here really, because I think they'll be too high for the layout once it's there. But I'll get them mounted up on the ceiling somewhere. But it'll be dual monitor, kind of with JMRI panels. Eventually, I'm thinking I'll probably splash out on some touchscreen monitors, because that's where the turnout control will be. So it'd be nice if it was on a touch screen rather than having to mess around with a mouse. So they'll eventually be mounted somewhere up above the layout, and I'll get some kind of shelf for the keyboard and mouse, I guess, unless I have a better idea. Lights are now fitted and working as well, so these are kind of directly above where the layout will be. You can see there's a test strut over there. So they'll give me decent light when I'm working on it. Light in the last loft was absolutely awful, with really just bulbs down the middle. I was always working in my own light, so these will help yeah, with light directly on the layout. And there's a couple of batten LEDs at each end as well, just to keep the place pretty well lit. And it worked. It's working pretty well, I think. Something I was aware that I really needed and got a bit lucky with in the end was a network internet connection up here. When I first moved in the house, or well, before I moved in, when it was being built, I got them to fit Cat6 cabling into a good few rooms in the house, but it didn't run to the loft. And obviously the loft, this corner here, is the absolute opposite corner of the house to where the Wi-Fi access point is, and the Wi-Fi signal just isn't strong enough up here. But luckily, also just after I moved in, I got someone in to fit an aerial. He fitted a loft aerial, obviously for TV, and he pulled the aerial cable down into my office, a socket that's about halfway up the wall, as far as he could kind of get the cable down. Since I had a satellite dish fitted and I don't use the aerial, and it came down anyway, it would have been in the way up here, but it came down when I fitted the insulation. But the cabling was still there down at the office, so I got a bit lucky. I bought a bit of Cat6 cable, tied it to the end of the aerial cable as tightly as I could, and then just pulled the aerial cable from the loft, and fortunately the Cat6 cable pulled with it. So I replaced the aerial cable that was running from the loft down to my office with a Cat6 cable, which is now all wired up and into a switch in the office, which means I've got Cat6 cable now directly up into the loft. And I guess the last bit of loft prep that I was thinking about and ended up doing is I really don't like this hole. It's obviously right in the middle of the walkway, and I'm a bit concerned it'd be right where the the layout was just there. I'm a little bit concerned that if I'm wandering around in a world of my own, doing whatever I'm doing, that one foot down that hole and I'm gone. So I've ended up cutting, because I've still got these stilts here. I've cut a couple of bits of the board that was left over, and they will, I've got them the wrong way around, but they will slot in perfectly. There's another one that'll go over there. I still wouldn't necessarily want to stand on them, but at least if I did, I'm not going straight through. So I think I'll probably paint them red or something like that, so at least they get my attention and I don't stand on them by accident. But if I do, at least I'm not falling a few feet down the next floor down. And really now, as far as loft prep goes, that's the loft ready for a layout, I guess. It's lit, it's powered, boarded. I have to say the insulation seems to be working incredibly well. There've been a few hot days, sunny days recently, and really the temperature in the loft's been pretty much the same as the temperature in the rest of the house, which yeah, for something I wasn't quite sure. I spent a lot on this insulation. It was probably the most expensive one I could find, and I wasn't really sure until the sun started shining, I guess, until it started getting warm, whether it was going to be effective or not. But it really seems like it is going to be. So yeah, highly recommended. I think this was Super Quilt, was it YBS Super Quilt, something like that. Expensive. I think it cost me, maybe the insulation alone was maybe 600 quid for the loft, but yeah, I think it's done the trick. So I guess really that brings us to the interesting bit, which is baseboards, which is my next job. I'm really being conscious with this one. I didn't really give it any thought with the last one. With the height of the layout, I think what the decisions that, or the factors, I guess, that led to the decision in the old house was the width of the layout. Obviously, the higher it goes, it's getting there. The higher the layout is, the more width you get, because the joists there are separating. The trade-off, I think, in the old loft was it ended up too high. It was about waist height. I struggled. I've got some medical issues around my stomach, and it wasn't easy to stretch over it. And there were certainly large parts of the layout that really very difficult to get to. So also in this loft, obviously I've got the raised floor, which is a factor. So I'm just playing now with different heights, working out what the ideal height will be. The other factor, and I think I've got a tape measure here, is I'd quite like to put back scenes on this layout as well, but obviously then height is a factor here. I think back scenes are 9 inches and 15 inches, and it would have to be, the layout would have to be very low if I was going to fit 15-inch back scenes above it. Possibly too low, because also another factor with the width was the way we got the ply cut. We got it cut at B&Q when I bought it last time, and I'd really quite like to use all the old ply again because there's so much of it. I think they ended up being, the ply panels that we got cut were 40 centimeters wide, and so the idea was 2 of them would fit across there, sideways across that way, and therefore this gap here to here needs to be 80 centimeters if at certain points it's going to fit 2 of those panels again. I'm not, with this layout, I'm not intending to just lay loads of flat boards like I did last time. I think I'm going to cut them down to what I need, so that it works better with the two levels. The bottom level will be pretty much non-scenic and just storage, I think, and then a higher level fed by an incline that'll go right around the perimeter of the loft again, will be scenic. But what I'm going to try and do with the lower level is not put any baseboard directly below where upper level baseboard and track will be, just so that I can get at point motors and stuff like that more easily, and there are none that are covered by track below. So I've been playing with different heights for the start of the baseboard, and I think you can see by the tape measure there, that's the absolute lowest that these struts can go if they're going to support an 80 centimetre width baseboard on top. That's kind of made the decision easy in the sense of back scenes, in that there's no way I'll get 40 centimetres, which I think is about 15 inches worth of back scene there. So I think I'm committing to the smaller 25 centimetre 9-inch back scenes, which is, you know, just a compromise. But yeah, that's I guess that's what compromise is all about. It'll give me a bit of wiggle room as well. I can probably put this this strut a little bit higher now, because there's plenty more. There's probably about 35 centimetres there. So yeah, I'll probably end up with the struts a little bit higher, the baseboard a little bit higher, but it'll be certainly still much lower in a relative sense than the one in the last loft was. These clamps look like being incredibly useful as well, with it really just being me putting these supports up. I was wondering how I was going to hold them level them, drill them, screw them all at the same time. It looks like these clamps are going to really come to my rescue there, because there's still enough, just about enough room there to drill and screw the strut in. But it just means I've got my hands free to get them absolutely level. I'm going to bring the end of the layout across this near side gap here in the trusses, and leave the far gap at the back there, just for access, I think. Obviously it's a bit of a compromise on the length of the layout, but not a huge amount. I'll do the same at the other side, especially because there's a double rafter at the end on the other one, so it makes it pretty impossible to bring a layout across anyway, because you've got too many obstacles. So yeah, next job is I think I'll get the end on first, that strut that's laid across there. You can see at this end there's a double rafter right at the end, so I can't go to the end of the loft on this side, because I'd have that middle rafter right in the way, a big obstacle to work around, which actually I ended up doing in the last loft, and it was a pain in the backside. So the layout will be coming across this gap here, again leaving a bit of space to the other end so I can get through and get up if I need to. The incline, however, will run right to the end of the loft, and will actually come through this gap here, again the same as I did in the last loft. The incline, and obviously it'll do the same the other end as well. The incline's kind of off layout and non-scenic, so it doesn't really matter where it runs. So the most important thing with that really was to use as much space as possible to keep the actual percentage of the incline low. So yeah, that'll run right across the wall. I've got some shelving brackets that I'll put drill into the wall there, so that they'll support the outer, because obviously it'll curve here. So I'll drill them to that breeze block there, and they'll support the far outer curve as it comes around, just so that obviously it doesn't buckle and tip up. You can see here how useful the clamp is. I've got everything. I've only got the one clamp holding this entire beam against 3 rafters, but it's keeping it absolutely steady. Spirit level's saying it's level, so I'll get down the back there now and start drilling and screwing. So I've now made a start on the support beams for the baseboards. I started with these 2/3 ones that go right across here. I couldn't get any longer in the car really, so I couldn't go right across. I used these clamps to, like I'm doing with this one, to hold them in place to start with while I balanced them out and sorted out the height. And then once I was sure, I've got this digital level here, once I was sure that they were as level as I could make them. I think 0.1, like that one is, if you can see it, is pretty much the turn of a handle. So I'm happy enough with that. I then, once I'd got these two on, put a third one on there, so I'm ready to go off down in that direction. But as soon as that one was in, I've then put another one in over here, the one that's held in by the clamps, purely because I want to make sure everything's staying level. I don't want to go off down the right hand side and down the left hand side and end up at different heights. So you can see here, if I put the, oh, there we go, we're at 0.0 now, perfect. And if I put this on here, not, oh, 0 again, which I can't do much better than that. And just to make sure that I'm staying at the same height on both sides, now there's a beam on each side there. I've rested one across the middle and just making sure there, I guess the light's bad, that the two beams are at the same height. Now that's done, it's just a case of screwing that beam in and taking the clamps off. And with me working so close to the hatch now, see, I've used those spare boards just to cover it up so I don't fall out of the loft. So end of the first day, I've just spent a couple of hours on it today really, but everything's starting to look like a baseboard, or at least the supports for them. You see I've got a couple of supports over that side, and there's the end support over there, and then another 3 down here, and plenty more to go up. So I think I'll leave it here for now. Just a lot of repetition really to go down to the end, get everything joined up down there. I'm hoping maybe by the end of this weekend I'll be working on baseboards. The first thing I'm going to do with the baseboards is the incline, the outer incline, that's effectively a loop right around the very perimeter of the loft, just because it's right up against the beams there, right at the far side of the baseboard, and obviously goes right to the end. So I thought it'd be a good idea to get that in first and maybe track on it as well while it's easy to get to before there's stuff coming in deeper down this side.